Hi, I'm Lizette from Clovetree, and today I'm going to show you how to spin a lock spun yarn. There we go, just untangle. I've already started it, and I'm spinning on my little aura. It's got a nice big little pigtailed orifice over here, and this is the end. There we go. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the locks attach really firmly to your yarn. You'd start it off on a leader just like any other yarn. Let's see, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. So this is the end. I've already spun some locks onto each other over here. So this is a continuous method where one lock fits onto the next one. I'll just adjust that so you can see what I'm doing over here. There we go. Where are my locks? There we go. Huh. Right, so these are some really gorgeous, clean, long TeeswAter locks. These ones are probably around 12 inches long. This works with shorter locks as well, of course. You obviously don't get as long a tail on them as you would on these ones. So this end, let's see, that's the tip, and this is the butt where it's been cut. So I just open this up ever so slightly, not too much, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spin just the butts together so it's in a V shape there, you can see. So I spin from this end all the way through to that end, and when it comes to this bit over here, keep it nice and tight so it keeps the lock intact and the lock keeps its beautiful structure. And this here becomes the yarn, like the two butt ends. So, oh, I've lost that end again. This is really very much a stop and start process. It takes ages to spin these yarns, but definitely totally worth it. So that's the last part of the butt end of the previous lock. And I try and overlap. Where's the lock? There we go. See, there's the lock. So I try and overlap this so that it starts attaching before you get to the previous lock that's already been spun on. Get some twist in there. There we go. Keep going. So I'm at the middle of the lock now, and make sure that twist goes in there really nicely. Hold the lock tight so that it twists on firmly. You can see how I'm really pulling it, how firmly it's attached, and then it's time for the next lock. If you can actually, you can space them further apart and start spinning from there, but I like a lock spun yarn with quite dense lock regularity, so that there's a lot of locks coming off the strand rather than a lock here and a lock there. There we go. So I'm attaching it again in between the orifice and the lock that I've just spun on. Spin it on. This just gives some extra stability to it as well. There we go. Where's my V? That lock gets twisted on. See, it's nice. It's hanging on there. It's so firmly attached. Time for the next lock. So you can prep this before you start spinning, obviously, and then it's a more continuous method. But I find actually, because I'm not flicking or carding these, you can, of course, and sometimes if there's a little bit of felting in the butt end of the locks, and that's definitely what you want to do, is just to make sure it's nice and loose. But these locks are fairly loosely structured. I washed them myself, so I know exactly what's happening here with them. So there we go, between the lock, so on the far side of the lock, spin that on, more twist. So you want to work really close to the orifice with this as well, otherwise this is just going to be the tightest twist on a yarn. You want a good uptake on there. It does snag a bit even on the aura. This is the nature of the thing. See, it's kind of curled itself around my orifice over there. Come on, little lock, get off. There we are. So there we go. There's another lock on. Can you see they're really quite closely spun together? There's maybe about an inch between the locks, possibly less. I should hold this a little bit higher so you can see better. Right, and another one. So make a V. Uncurl the lock actually. There we go, uncurl it. Attach it in front of the previous lock. Spin past it. Oh, this one's even closer, look at that. Obviously the size of your V that you make also affects how close the locks are together. If you make a big V, then you're going to have a longer piece to spin in between the locks. There we go. So a nice V. See all the butts are nice and loose on that. There we go. In front of the lock, over the lock, and keep going. My lock is nice and tight. And next one. You can see the orifice is right here. I'm probably about 2 or 3 inches away from the orifice. I try not to work any further away from there because, like I said, it's really important not to over twist these yarns. Right, there we go. So spin in the previous lock, right over it. Keep going. And there we go, another lock on. Now these yarns can take, to spin a few yards, you can see that I'm kind of working inch by inch here really slowly. These are time consuming yarns to make, but there's nothing else that can give you this absolutely stunning effect that shows off these beautiful locks to their absolute best. I like using TeeswAter. It's one of the finer, it's actually probably the finest of the long locks that you can get. Wensleydale is really fine as well. If I can't get my hands on TeeswAter, that's my next favorite. You can also lock spin these, although if you've got especially long locks like these ones, then if you want to show them off, a tailspin is definitely your best bet. There we go. Attach it there, spin over the lock. There we go. Over the V, nice and tight. I pinch it just on the lock to make sure that the twist doesn't travel down the lock itself but across the top of the butts. There we go. I hope this was helpful. I'll make a few other videos so that you can get your hands on some new methods. I'll do some art yarns as well. If you have any specific requests of any yarns that you really would like to spin, I can do that for you. Go and have a look at my Etsy shop actually. It's a Clovetree on Etsy, and if there's any yarn there that you would really love to spin, give me a shout. I'll work you through the prep, how I've carded it or how I've attached insets, or yep, we can do that. Okay, I'm gonna carry on spinning now, so say goodbye to you. Bye now.